Hi, this is Aaron Young from Laughlin Associates, sitting here at Board of Advisors with a dear friend and someone I admire so much, Jeffrey Flamm, world-class real estate developer, hotelier, but the thing that's near and dear to his heart is something called infinite mind.
Thanks, Aaron.
Say, I can read faster, all right, which is so cool. Yeah. I love that because, a lot of us have. First of all, a lot of people have kind of stopped reading. A lot of people are saying, well, is it on Audible? Can I listen to an audiobook? I want to listen, not read. So, but I think you get a whole different experience, including you can mark a book up.
Right.
You can highlight things, which you can't do on a recording, right, on an Audible. So if I can go faster, are there other benefits besides just the speed that this muscle memory we're creating in our minds, this strengthening of the brain? What are the other benefits besides just it's faster?
Well, let's address the first question,
Okay.
right? And that is, do we need to read anymore?
Okay.
Or can we just listen? And what you'll find is people aren't reading. Even adults that have learned to read aren't reading much. We're just flipping through things on our social media and listening to them quickly and going on. And if there's much in print, we don't read it. We'll read a couple things, headings or whatever. But what the fact is, when you actually read a book or anything on an iTablet, an ebook, you're going to absorb much more. And the other thing is you can go at your own speed. Once you learn to read fast, you can skim through what's important and what's not quickly and get to things that are important to slow down and focus on what you want to learn. Whereas when you're listening to a book, you kind of have to listen to the whole thing, even if you put it on 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
So reading's much more effective for your memory. So if you're studying for a test or whatever, reading, underlining, seeing it is much more effective. So why do we want to read more? Well, what I found in business, when I had my own company, I used to hire consultants to come in for $5,000 a day. And this is years ago, to come in and teach us something. And once I got to be a great reader, I realized I can read their book. Everybody writes their best stuff down in a book, right?
Yeah.
I can read their book, underline, focus on what I need, and do it in a matter of a couple hours versus sitting there all day listening to somebody go with some of it I'm interested in, some I'm not.
So it's empowering.
It's empowering.
It's empowering. If you're thinking ahead, like, oh, I'm going to do that extra work, it becomes an empowering. You become more the master of your own domain.
You do.
Is that right? So if we start people young, if we start children, well, first of all, is this a good program for that developing mind? Is it just give them a big head start, or do we need to wait till they're a certain age to let them start?
It's for ages 8 and above. So they need to read at second grade level.
Okay.
So when they sign up for the program, and it's free in the App Store under Infinite Mind Brain Exercises. You can find it. I built a free version during COVID because kids aren't reading. They're all getting behind. And I can, because we're an online program, I can see exactly where everybody's scores are. And where high school kids used to read at 200 words a minute, now they're reading more like 170 or 180. They're down. They're not reading as well. And what that means is they don't test as well, because tests are written at a certain speed. You've got to read at a certain speed to do well. And so if you're a slow reader, you're getting to the end of each section and then you're just filling in bubbles. You're just guessing.
Yeah.
And so if people do our program for 8 weeks, it's just 7 minutes a day, go back and take a test they've just taken, they'll raise their scores usually about 25%.
Okay, love that. And is there any other long-term benefit that you guys have discovered by using the program and becoming proficient with the program you put out there, including that it's free? How amazing. But besides being faster and becoming more empowering, what's the long-term benefit, or is there one?
Well, the long-term benefit is it changes the way you read forever. So we test people that haven't used it for a year, and they'll be somewhere in between their maximum speed they got to and where they started. So they never go back to reading at 200 words a minute. They may be reading at 300 or 400, but it's still half again or twice as fast as the normal person. So the residual benefits last for years.
So Jeff, okay, so we're helping the kids read, starting at second grade level.
Right.
And we know now that we can become more empowered by having more control of information. So what if you're kind of a slow reader or not such a great reader? You can read, but you're not proficient, and you're like me, I'm 61. Is it too late for me, or is it okay any time in life? Will this still work?
Right. That's a very good question, Aaron. I started this when I was 43 years old, and I wasn't a good reader. I was at 170 words a minute. And within a month of doing it, I was up around 500. So it was a life changer for me.
Wow.
That's why I bought the rights to bring it into all English-speaking countries. So we've had it out for 25 years now, over 2 million users, and 1,000 schools have used it. So I have very good data on what it'll do. And it's really a life changer. So you ask, is it good for an older person? Well, we've had 2 scientific studies done, one at Caltech in Pasadena and one with 30 students at University of Utah. And the Department of Neurology did it. It was a scientific study, independent study. And what they found is in just 8 weeks, it increases brain function by 15 times. That's 1,500% more brain function. So for an adult, is that important? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Our brains atrophy as we get older, and we start getting forgetful and having senior moments. Well, you get on this, and within a month or two, you don't notice senior moments at all anymore because the connectivity is improving in the brain. Without it, your dendrites, this little hair-like substance on the end of each cell, that's your connectivity that talks and passes it down your neurotransmitters. And so if you're not using that for a while, it atrophies. We start losing those little hair-like substances on the end of each cell. So the connectivity goes down. And when you start actively using it again, those reestablish.
All right. So well, okay. Well, folks that are listening, I think what we're learning here is there's every reason to go download the app on Infinite Mind. You know, that or not on the App Store. Isn't that what it's called, Infinite Mind?
It's Infinite Mind Brain Exercises.
Brain exercises. And no matter where we are in our progression, as long as we're a second grade reader. So, you know, if not, we'll get you a simple book to start with, get you up to second grade level. But if you are, this sounds like a good idea. The idea that as we see a greater and greater level of do struggling with memory loss, and I'm not saying this is some kind of a solution for Alzheimer's, but they say do Sudoku, do the crossword puzzle, do things to stimulate your mind. This, and then just the act of being a good reader so you feel like reading and introducing new ideas is probably all going to be good for brain health. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
All right. Is there anything they need to do besides, you said go to the App Store. What else?
Right.
What else they need to do to
Well,
plug
I wanted to
into
mention
you?
one other thing.
Oh, please, yeah.
Probably, I would guess it's approaching a third of the population has some form of ADHD. Now,
Okay.
most entrepreneurs have some level of ADHD. They're very creative, but their mind jumps around. They're ready for something new. They get tired of tedious things, right? And so if kids are ADHD, especially in school, even adults, as you read, you get down to the bottom of the page and your mind's gone 20 places. You've thought of, I want to do this with my friends, or I need to do this today when I get home from work. Your mind jumps around and you get to the bottom and you've looked at every word, but you don't know what you've just read. That's the most common thing with ADHD. So kids with ADHD generally don't like to read. They just can't stay focused. Once you learn to read fast, it changes the way you read. You start learning to read conceptually instead of subvocally. So instead of saying each word in your mind, because people don't know, but they read at the speed they speak because they're saying each word as they read it in their mind. Once you get over that and start realizing, and we teach this, is each paragraph is a concept. New paragraph, new idea, new concept. So you're reading down through what's the concept, and you can remember a few ideas on a page far more than 360 words. So it makes your comprehension go way up. So the average person is going to double or triple their reading speed, but increase their comprehension by 62%, reading much faster.
All of this begs kind of, unless you have more things you want to cover, I kind of want to go to where this is taking my mind as we're talking about it. So we're talking about this one program, and of course we've said there's a free version of it. You can go get it on the App Store. Right. So one who doesn't know you might say, well, I don't get it. What is there an upsell? What's the trick? What's the catch? I know you as a wildly successful businessman, a real estate developer, own towers, hotels, all this greatest pool in the Western Hemisphere, or whatever it is. I mean, your pool out on Kauai is one of the top ones. You work at such a high level, and you're connected to so many great people. So you don't need this. So what drives you? Why everywhere I go, I've known you for years, and we see each other at business conferences. And you're always talking about this, even though I know you have this whole empire out there. Tell us what is it about this? Why are you doing this? Why do you care?
It was a life changer for me. It made me a great reader, desire to learn. But when I got my kids on it, because I own the company, I said, you got to do it every day. It's part of your homework assignment, right? So they did it, and they became very fast readers. Most of my kids read above 1,000 words a minute. So when they take tests, they score very, very high. So all of them were able to go on and get their master's degrees. 2 of them went to Oxford. How did they do that? Because limited people get to go get their master's degree at Oxford. It's because they scored so high on the GMAT test. So I look at what it's done for my family, and so I want everybody to have that experience. Nothing, if your kid's struggling in school, if they're not a good reader, they don't want to be called on. They don't like school. A lot of them will start skipping class or not wanting to go to school because they're not doing well. If they're a good reader, they like to learn, and it's a life changer for kids. So my goal is to get kids reading well, that they like school. So for my grandkids, because it's not a game that they just want to play every day. It's not like that. It's some work. It's mental work. Imaging, reading. So what I do for my grandkids is you do 4D sessions, I get you a season pass to the local amusement park. So they do it. Sunday dinner, we're talking about it. And I said, how are you doing on the reading? Oh, yeah, I do it, Grandpa, all the time. How are you doing in school? And they'll go around and say, I'm the top reader in my class. I'm the top reader in my class. One of them said, I bet I'm the best reader in my whole school. Well, what does that do when a kid has that kind of confidence? They're a great learner. Yeah. They have self-confidence. They succeed in life. So what we want to do is give kids an edge, that they can really be successful in life, and it's all about how well you learn. Well,
it's been a pleasure visiting and learning more about Infinite Mind, Jeff. And we know they can go to the app stores and download it's exactly Infinite Mind
Brain exercises.
So go get it. And until the next conversation, here we're a board of advisors. We're part of this wonderful group. And for those that might be listening and wondering, what all this great content exists from board of advisors, at board of advisors, you get to meet people like Jeff Flamm, who are not only doing great in business, but doing great in the world. And that's the advantage of being in a high-level community like this. So thank you so much.
Thanks,
It was great having this visit.
And it's good to be with you.